Good day, everyone. Today, we're going to report about the multivariate analysis. I am Salome Alce, together with my partner, Ma'am Annabel Aninion. First, we're going to define first what is the multivariate analysis. Multivariate analysis is a powerful statistical technique that is widely used in the social sciences. So, as social studies students, it is used to study complex relationships and patterns involving multiple variables. In the field of social studies, multivariate analysis can be applied in various ways to gain a deeper understanding of social phenomena. That is the use of multivariate analysis. But in general, multivariate analysis is a statistical technique used to analyze data sets that involve multiple variables. It is employed to understand relationship patterns and associations among these variables. So we are going to proceed about the multivariate data analysis techniques. We have the dependence methods and the interdependence method. So the dependence methods explain or predict a dependent variables on the basis of two or more independent variable. Example, in the dependence method, when we are going to relate that one in the social studies, just like the dependent variable is global temperature. So, how the independent variable are being interrelated to the dependent variable, which is the global temperature. So, the independent variable, the greenhouse gas emission, and the deforestation. In each of these examples, the dependent variable is what researchers are trying to measure, explain, or predict if it's influenced by one or more independent variables that are manipulated or observed in the study. So the relationship between the dependent and the independent variables is central to the analysis or interpretation of the research results. So that is the use of dependence and the interdependence method. Okay. So the interdependence, as I've said, the interdependence methods give us meaning, or it will find out how all variables are being interrelated. So we're going to define how the two are being interrelated. Okay, another example. The dependent variable, we have the pollution levels. So what are the independent variables? We have the emission controls or the industrial activity. So that's okay. The researchers must find how the two are being measured or explain or predict. Okay, by being identified the dependent variable and the independent variable of the two. So we can see and observe how the two are being interrelated. Okay. We have the factor analysis groups variables, the cluster analysis groups cases or respondents, okay, and the multidimensional scaling or the correspondence analysis groups objects. So, the factor analysis groups variable, in the social scientists often use the factor analysis to identify underlying factors that explain correlations between the multiple observed variables. For instance, it can be used to uncover latent factors affecting the responses to a questionnaire about job satisfaction. So how factor analysis being used? So in the social studies, the social studies students can have a survey questionnaire how the graduate or how the graduates in this current school year have or can be satisfied in their job. So in that survey questionnaire, the factor analysis is being used. Okay, we have the cluster analysis groups. Okay, this technique is used to similar group cases or observations together based on their characteristics in social sciences. It can be applied to segment populations with similar behaviors, attitudes, or preferences such as consumer segmentation or identifying different types of social media users. So marami na siyang pagpipilian. What are the similar behaviors, the attitudes, or the preferences of the consumer? How they are going to identify kung ano yung pinakamalakas when it comes to social media users. Okay, and last we have the multi-dimensional scaling. So later we're going to explain that one. Okay, we have various multivariate analysis techniques. Include number one, the multiple regression analysis. In general, it is used to assess and analyze a number of independent variables with a dependent variable linear function of the relationship between the statistical methods. But when you are going to relate that one in the social studies na field, multiple regression analysis extends linear regression to analyze the relationship between a dependent variable and multiple independent variables simultaneously. It can help understand how several factors contribute to a particular outcome such as voting behavior, healthcare outcomes, or job satisfaction. So yun ang kanilang when we are going to relate that one in the social studies field. Okay. Number two is the logistic regression analysis. In general, sometimes referred to as the choice model. This technique is a variation of multiple regression that allows for the prediction of an event. So, when we are going to see the definition, we have the choice model. So, dalawa lang ang pagpipilian. It's because what is right or what is wrong, depende yan sa subject kung ano yung kanyang pipiliin. But when we are going to relate that one, in the social studies, the logistic regression, the dependent variable is categorical. Maybe it is yes or no, pass or failed. So, logistic regression is used, commonly employed in the social sciences to predict binary outcomes. Binary, dalawa lang. Such as whether a person will vote or not, whether someone will buy a product, or whether a student will graduate. So, meaning to say, choice siya. Ano yung pinipili ng tao. Okay. Number 3 is the multivariate analysis of variance. We have the MANUVA. In general, this technique examines the relationship between several categorical independent variables and two or more metric-dependent variables. So, when we are going to relate that one again in the social studies na field, it's because we are social studies students. This technique is an extension of ANOVA, allowing researchers to analyze multiple dependent variables simultaneously. It's commonly used in social sciences to examine differences between groups on multiple outcomes. So, marami siyang pagpipilian. It's because multivariate. ANOVA manggod is isa lang siya. Simple lang. We have number 4, the factor analysis. Factor analysis in general is an independence technique in which there is no dependent variable. The goal of factor analysis is to reduce the redundancy among the variables by using a smaller of factors. As I've said it earlier, the factor analysis can be used in the social studies students when having a survey questionnaire how the employed or the non-employed mga graduates, how they are being satisfied in their job or job satisfaction when we're going to deal that one. So that's the use for the factoring analysis. Okay. Number 5 is the discriminant function analysis. The discriminant function analysis is used to determine the classification of individual statistical methods. So, in relation to the social scientist, used when you want to determine which variables discriminate between two or more groups or categories. It is useful in the social sciences for classifying individuals into groups based on their characteristics or behaviors. So, i-discriminate pag positive siya, okay, go. Pag negative siya, may tendency na pwede mo siyang i-discriminate. That's the use of discriminant function analysis. Number 6 is the cluster analysis. In general definition of cluster analysis, we search for patterns in dataset by grouping the multivariate or the observations into clusters. The goal is to find optimal grouping for which the observation or objects within its cluster are similar, but the clusters are dissimilar to each other. So, the cluster analysis, as I've said it earlier, when we are going to relate that one in the social sciences, it can be applied to segment populations, how the behaviors, the attitudes, or the preferences are being similar, such as the consumer segmentation or identifying the different types of the social media users. Okay. And we have the multidimensional scaling or the MDS, the principal component analysis, the correspondence analysis, the canonical correlation analysis, the conjoint analysis, the structural equation modeling or the SEM, and the log linear models. So I'm going to discuss na iilan lang. We have the canonical correlation analysis. When we are going to talk about canonical correlation analysis, is used when you want to examine the relationship between two sets of variables. In social sciences, it can be used to explore how variables in one set, example, the demographic characteristics, how they are related to variables in another set, such as the psychological traits. So, meron siyang connection, interrelated when it comes to the correlation nga, correlational analysis. And then we have the SEM or the structural equation modeling. The structural equation modeling, okay, used to test and develop theoretical models that explain complex relationship among multiple variables. It's valuable in fields like psychology, sociology, and education to examine the relationship between latent constructs and observed variables. So those are the things that I'm going to discuss in the other aspect. Okay. But in general, what is the use of multivariate analysis? So multivariate analysis plays a crucial role in as social sciences students. It can have it can help researchers gain a deeper understanding of a complex relationships and patterns involving multiple variables. We have what are the things that can contribute with the multivariate analysis when it comes to social studies. Number one, understanding the complex relationship. Example, social phenomena are often influenced by multiple factors. So, multivariate analysis allows researchers to examine how different variables interact and affect outcomes. For example, in studying crime rates, researchers can analyze the combined impact of factors like income inequality, education levels, and policing strategies. So that's the use of the multivariate analysis. Okay, we have comparing groups or population. The use of multivariate analysis allows for comparing different groups or population while considering multiple variables. For instance, in political science, researchers can study voting behavior across different demographics, taking into account variables like ages, the income, and the political ideology. Okay. We have the assessing the impact of policies and interventions. So the social studies students can assess multivariate analysis to evaluate the effectiveness of policies, the interventions, or the programs by comparing groups exposed to different treatments or conditions. While controlling for other variables, researchers can assess the true impact of the intervention. So, malaki talaga ang gamit usage when it comes to multivariate analysis in relating to the social sciences students. Okay, predictive modeling. The use of multivariate analysis techniques such as the regression analysis and machine learning enable researchers to build predictive models. These models can be used to forecast future trends or outcomes based on historical data and various predictor variables, which is valuable in fields like economics and political sciences. So, in summary, multivariate analysis provides the social studies students the tools to analyze complex social phenomena, test hypotheses, making predictions, and draw meaningful insights from the data. So, the multivariate analysis is a fundamental tool in the social sciences students that enhances the rigor and depth of research in various disciplines, including sociology, economics, psychology, political science, and more. So, that's all my report about the introduction and what are the usage of multivariate analysis. So, I'm using only the recording. It's because my notebook is not, di siya magana po, Doc. Okay, thank you so much and good day everyone.